Hello and welcome back today on show Radiant Realization with Namrata. Today I have an awesome guest, Ribha Mary with me, and she is going to discuss with us topic about overthinking. Welcome, Ribha, and I'm super excited to have you.
Thank you so much, Namrata. I'm also super thrilled to be welcomed by you on your platform. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm looking forward to our conversation. Thank you.
Riva, overthinking and me, we are constant friends. It has always stayed with me since that time I acknowledge myself. And I'm a master overthinker. I can spend entire weekends just thinking about one thing, which would have absolute zero relevance on Monday morning. So, Riva, I would like to know from you what got you started to pick up overthinking as your coaching niche and grow and help people fight with overthinking.
Okay, Namrata, as you were talking about yourself, that resonates with me 2, 3 years back because even me as a person, I was a master of overthinking. I was a chronic overthinker. What made me choose this topic is because I've managed to overcome it in my self development journey. So, as an overthinker, I felt like I was stuck in a place where I couldn't be productive, I couldn't progress. And I think that drained a lot of my energy and my time, my resources, all of that would just, I would just let it all pass because of my overthinking nature. But with time, as I've managed and learned how to overcome overthinking, I think that has brought drastic changes in my life. And yeah, this journey and the topic that I chose for today on overthinking, I want to specifically share this topic with people who are of my age, who are still on on a phase of from becoming a student to getting a job or finding a career for themselves, or maybe someone who wants to start their business, because overthinking can show up as one of the resistance in your life, like it showed up in my life. And I would really like to help people like them to be able to take control of this resistance.
Riva, to start with basics, how would you define overthinking?
Overthinking to me is when I continuously think about a past event or a situation or a decision that I've made that is holding me back from becoming productive or from becoming progressive in life. That's not letting me implement or take actions on things that are important to me. So that's what is overthinking to me.
The common triggers that would lead to overthinking.
Okay, thank you, Namrata, for the question because I truly believe when we first understand the triggers, we might as well be able to handle overthinking much better. So, the triggers of overthinking, what I've experienced personally is number one is it gives a lot of stress and anxiety. When you're stressful about your situation or when you're anxious about the future because you're uncertain about it, you don't have the clarity. I think that's what is triggering there. And then another thing is fear, whether it's fear of failure or because you've made a, a mistake in the past and you wouldn't want to face through that failure again, or whether it's you doubting yourself, having low self-esteem, you're not able to build that belief in yourself that you can do it, that even if it doesn't work out, somehow you figure it out. So fear of failure, doubt, of course, all of this comes from past experiences, whatever we've gone through in our childhood, the conditioning we get from our parents, our teachers, our surroundings. And then another trigger of overthinking is when we want to become a perfectionist. So mostly, I was that person as well. I was a perfectionist that before launching anything, I wouldn't launch because I want everything to be perfect, especially when it comes to recording videos or recording my courses, I tend to procrastinate. Why? It's because I wanted it to be perfect, not realizing that perfectionism is something that's stopping me. It's actually the resistance that's not letting me, take action. So that's another trigger. So yeah, these are some of the triggers that I could share.
Riva, in your experience connecting with people to whom you're guiding, mentoring, what are the common themes or thoughts people tend to overthink about?
So one of the most common thoughts people tend to overthink about, including me, one thing that I found is with regards to finances, money. So people who come with this problem is because they don't have secured job, or they're not sure of what career they would like to choose. They're not happy with the job that they're doing, and they're just doing it for the sake of making some money. And money can be one part. Another thing is getting that job satisfaction, not being able to experience that fulfillment and excitement in the job that they're doing, in the workspace that they are in. I think that's what most people tend to overthink about. And other things like health. Most people also come with this overthinking about their health. And the people who come with this overthinking is other people who don't have priorities, who don't have health as their number one priority, because they have some other commitments regarding maybe their family, their relationships, that their health has to take a toll. So and when they do that, they would be in that place where they'll take health lightly, and eventually it will like try and deteriorate their health, not figuring out how to manage it until they have to reach a point where they have to go to the hospitals or reach out to doctors, and that's where the major problem lies. So that's another thought. I could add more. Past mistakes. I think when people are so concerned about thinking about their past experiences that didn't go well for them, they're so worried that if I make this mistake again, I won't be able to please the people who are around me, or I might disappoint someone. And they stop themselves from taking action and implementing what needs to be done. They fear making the mistakes again. They fear failure, not realizing that making mistakes is part of the success journey, right? Namrata is most successful people. They make a lot of mistakes, but the only thing is that they learn from their mistakes, they evolve from there, and they move forward in life. But with overthinking, people tend to hold themselves back from moving forward. So yeah, those may be the common thoughts.
So, Viva, how would you differentiate productive thinking? Because that is what we say, like you have to think deeper to get to know what your heart says, listen to yourself, listen to your
Right.
intuition, which also comes under thinking. So, how is this category of thinking different from overthinking?
Great, great. That's a very nice question, Amrita, because it's very important for us to also understand the difference between, we call it productive thinking and overthinking. So I would say productive thinking is when we think and we have to think and put a thought on areas which are important to us. Areas like, let's just give an example, choosing a career, because we have to think, right? We have to make conscious choices on what career we need to choose that will give us fulfillment. And then, or it may be choosing the right college according to our interests of the subjects or whatever it is that we want. And other things like choosing a life partner, very important, where you both find that connection. Because I'm not married yet, I don't have a life partner, so I can't give much of examples for here, but I believe you understand, our audience understand, that choosing the right life partner is very important for for both of for both of you to be able to lead happy life. So that's another area to think about to become productive. Then other areas like choosing the right investments, whether it's investments in stocks or shares or whatever kind of investment in yourself. I think these are the crucial areas where we need to put a lot of thinking, and or maybe choosing the right business partner who you like to work with, who resonates with your values, your your code of honor, and all of that that your company brings. So yeah, these are all the areas on productive thinking, because if you don't, you wouldn't want to be rash or impulsive in making decisions on these areas, because the consequences they have, like sorry, so like the because they're going to have longer consequences, and the consequences that they will have will either make or break your future. So that's all about the productive thinking. Whereas the overthinking, it's about what we've started talking about, that gravitates towards the worst case scenarios. So the thinking that when you think about your past experiences and you're worried or you're regretful about it, or the overthinking about future uncertainties, because you worry about the future because you don't see, you cannot predict your future, right? So when we live in the worries of our future or past experiences which holds us back, I think that falls under the category of overthinking.
Can take 2 minutes, please.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Ribha, what strategies you would recommend somebody who is going through overthinking so they can stop that overthinking and focus on things which are more productive?
Lovely. So once we understand what are the triggers and the impacts that they could have, that overthinking can have in our lives, I think it's really, really important to, and it's crucial for us to come to know about how we can manage or reduce overthinking. So I've got five strategies to share with you. Number one is to become very mindful and become self-aware through, maybe you can do this through meditation, because when you're meditating, you're becoming fully present. You're not really living in your past or your future. When you meditate or when you focus on the present moment, that's when you get a lot of calm, you feel relaxed, and the thoughts in your mind, they just disappear for that moment. So practicing mindfulness and meditation is one way you can help reduce overthinking. That's what I've been practicing. And then another strategy, what you can do when you find yourself overthinking, is to have a dump journal. Have a journal where you can dump all of your thoughts, whatever's going on in your mind. You just write it down in your dump journal, so that it's like you're releasing those thoughts all on paper. And that's when you can start to feel less stressful and relaxed. So that's the second strategy. When we come to talking about the third strategy, this is very interesting because this has also helped me overcome my overthinking, and that is to get yourself into movement. So anytime you find yourself overthinking, I would love for you to start moving your body, maybe in the form of exercise or dancing. So what I would do is I would play some nice um, dancing music, and whenever I tend to overthink, I would just play that music and start dancing. So when we do that, when I do that, all like when the moment I shift my, the moment I, sorry, the moment I shift myself from sitting in one position to moving to movement, that's when I'm not in a space where I have any thoughts. That's where I have fun, I become present, and I'm not overthinking. So you can also try this strategy. Then the fourth thing I can share with you is to have a lot of self-compassion. Understand that we all are going through challenges, uncertainties, because we're humans. So each and every one of us have challenges in our lives. And once we become aware that we have these challenges, let us look for, some of the things that we can be grateful for, or some of the things that are going well in our life. Become present. Rarely people will look at themselves in the mirror and appreciate themselves, right? So mirror exercise can be one form of self-compassion, where you look yourself into the mirror and praise yourself. The things that you don't like about yourself, instead of criticizing yourself, praise yourself and give yourself that acknowledgement, appreciation. Yeah, so that's what you can do with self-compassion. Last but not least is for those who feel like they're overthinking their problems or the situations is not very, they can't handle it, or it's not manageable by them. Whatever they do, they feel they can't get over it. So I would suggest for such people to seek support. Maybe find a family member who you feel free or open to talk to, or a friend, or anyone. And if you feel like you don't have anyone around you, you can also find and seek guidance from an expert, a therapist, or a coach, and get professional help. I think seeking support will provide you that release, and you feel supported emotionally. So yeah.
And Ribha, if somebody has this habit of overthinking, and if they've been doing this for a couple of decades of their life, what impact it has on the mental health of that individual?
Oh well, that I've researched a lot on that. It can bring a lot of disaster in one's personal, mental, and not just mental, but also physical health. So the stress, one of the impact of overthinking is stress and anxiety, right? So it, like, persistent anxiety and stress would happen. Like, it will heighten the levels of anxiety and chronic stress, which can contribute to long-term mental health issues, such as anxiety disorder or depression. That's one thing. Another impact it can have, chronic overthinking, is this on decision making. One can be impaired to make analyze, what to say, like, when you become a chronic overthinker, uh, one's ability to make timely and confident choices gets impaired, and it affects both personal and professional outcomes. So that's another impact. Another point I can add here is, um, chronic overthinking can also lead to negative thought patterns. As humans, we live in patterns. So when we constantly overthink, especially when it's about things that lead us to the worst case scenarios, it reinforces negative thought patterns, and it includes self doubt, being pessimistic, and a tendency to anticipate worst case scenarios, and it erodes our self esteem. So that's another point. Um, as we grow up, there are some people who find it hard to have fun in life. So there's a difficulty to enjoy and have fun. So when we constantly overthink, and when we become chronic overthinkers, we constantly dwell on those past events, or maybe the future uncertainties, which can prevent us from fully engaging in and enjoying in the present moment, which affects our overall satisfaction. So it's very important to understand these impact, so that you don't lose out on the good, the happy things in life. Yeah. And one more point I'd like to add, very important, because I've gone through this journey, it's this. Uh, Self-improvement and development. People will find it very, very difficult to engage in improving their own selves, developing their self, enrolling into personal development courses, because they would not want to. But once you become a chronic overthinker, people will be reluctant to take on challenges or experience new things and explore new things. So, and that is because due to the fear and excessive analysis. So, yeah, these are some points which can impact in a long term.
Okay. Talking about impact of overthinking, Ribha. So, your thoughts on how does overthinking impacts a relationship that you have with your close family members, your loved ones, or even your professional relationship?
Yeah, wonderful. Relationships is a really important part of our being, right? If everything is going right, if our relationships are not going great, I feel that we're not living a fulfilling or a happy life. So it's very important to understand how overthinking can affect both personal as well as professional relationships. So there will be a communication breakdown. It means there will be excessive rumination or overanalysis of conversation, causing some misunderstandings and conflict in the relationship because of overthinking. And trust issues can also come up. Constantly questioning maybe your partner's motive or actions, it can erode trust and create unnecessary suspicion and drama and doubt in the relationship. When it comes to emotions, I think it has overthinking can really drain our emotional um, being with our partners or our relationships, creating worries and negative thoughts, which is an exhaustion, and it leads to feelings of disconnection with the other person. So these are regarding the problems with related to personal relationships. When it comes to professional relationships, I think there will be problems like decision paralysis, which is the over analyzing situations, which can lead to indecisiveness, making it difficult to make timely decisions and affecting team productivity. If you're working with a team, I think making a decision would really hinder that the progress of the team overall. And it also decreases the efficiency of the work. So when you're engaged into the work, you are not able to give it your all. Like the efficiency decreases, like you're not able to give it up to your full potential, because overthinking it affect your overall mental and physical well-being, and that is why. Yeah. And burnout can be another another impact on professional relationships. The mental exhaustion from overthinking can lead to burnout, reducing overall job satisfaction and performance. So once we understand these points, I think we'll become more aware and handle these things in a much better way.
Does overthinking impact sleep patterns?
Yes, of course, it does affect sleep patterns as well. And I could say this because I've experienced that. Because I'd been a chronic overthinker, it has affected my sleep patterns in many ways. Firstly, I faced difficulty in falling asleep because I was overthinking about my life. What will my future be like? I constantly worry about what is it I want to do in life, because I didn't know how to set goals and how to achieve them. What are the career paths I need to choose? I was this lost, confused child, and because of these things that's going on in my mind, not having the clarity, not having the courage to make decisions, it led me to fall asleep. It was very difficult for me to fall asleep And because of these racing thoughts and constant mental activity, it made it very, very difficult to relax and fall asleep at night. So that's one. And it also leads to interrupted sleeps in the middle of the night. Like in the middle of the night, I would wake up and those thoughts will keep coming again, and it really interrupts sleeping patterns. Another problem that some of my clients would come to me is insomnia. People with persistent overthinking lead to insomnia. They have difficulty in initiating or maintaining sleep despite having the opportunity to do so. So, yeah, these are some of the problems of overthinking on sleep. And
Okay.
once sometimes also it feels, even when we sleep, it we don't get the good quality of sleep. It's very poor once our sleep is affected, and we tend to wake up feeling unrested because of the lack of sleep, so and interrupted sleep. So mainly during the daytime also we will constantly feel fatigue, feel sleepy, tired, not having the energy to work or do anything. So yeah, and it leads to a vicious cycle. Constantly we're in this cycle. It exacerbates stress and anxiety as well, further perpetuating the cycle of overthinking and poor sleep. So yeah, these are the effects.
Okay, Reba, I'm really enjoying this conversation, and it's the
Sorry.
last one question where I would like to have your thoughts are.
Mhm.
Do you think fear of being perfectionist leads to overthinking?
Yes, definitely. Because when it comes to talking about fear, um, when we're fearful about the future, when it comes under fear, we can add a lot of things like fear of the future, fear of failure, then fear of uncertainty, fear of judgment. That was one I had to really deal with, because we're afraid what others will think if I make this decision, or when I do this, do that. I was that people pleaser who wanted to please everyone. So fear of rejection is also there. I think because of all these fears, people tend to overthink, and that stops them from taking action and implementing. So once you also understand that you've got these fears and you overcome them, I think your overthinking will also start to go. So fears contributes in major ways towards overthinking. And when it comes to um, perfectionist, I had been a perfectionist for so many years that I'm not able to make decisions. But when we come to talking about decisions, there's no right or wrong decision, right? Because there's only a decision. You make it, and even if it doesn't go right, you figure it out and you make it right. So there's no wrong decision. So not taking a decision is actually worse than making the wrong decision. So yeah, fear of failure. You fear that even if you make a decision, what if it doesn't go right? But once we overcome that fear and we just make the decision, we can learn from that, right? Even if we've made a mistake, we can definitely learn from those mistakes, resolve the problem, and we grow and we progress. At least we're not stuck in that same place where we didn't take the decision at all. So yeah, very, very important to understand that. And being a perfectionist is you fearing of judgment, or fearing of, because you want to become a perfectionist, because you want everything to be perfect. You wouldn't want to make the decision to launch or to go out there or to speak about it. Or it can be relating to anything that you're holding yourself back because you feel like, I'm not perfect yet, I'm not good enough yet. Once I'm perfect, then I will launch. Not realizing that we can only become perfect with practice, right? Once we do it, I mean, nobody gets it perfect the first time they do it, right? So yeah, so once we understand that perfectionism is just a myth, and just start whenever you're ready, not when you're ready, but start before you're ready. Not like, if you take this quote, start before you're ready, I think that will act like an inspiration for you to not let perfectionism hold you back. So yeah.
Riba, I would say thank you so much for sharing your views and the quote that you said, start before you are ready. And this will help to fight overthinking and
Yeah,
also fight perfectionism, fear. And it would definitely help us to lead a productive life.
right.
Riva, you have a lot of knowledge, wisdom, and experience even at this young age. And I'm really grateful to have you today in my show.
Thank you so much, Namrata. I feel so privileged to be invited by you. Please continue doing your work. It really is, it can help, even if it impacts one person. I'm feeling really, really fulfilled and honored. I'm so happy. So I would just like to add that overthinking is a common challenge that many of us face. But it's important to remember that it doesn't have to control your lives. This message is to the audience. So, by recognizing the triggers and impacts of overthinking, we can take proactive steps to manage it. So, embrace mindfulness, challenging your negative thoughts, and prioritizing self compassion, self care. And remember, it's okay. It's okay to let go of perfection and embrace uncertainty. Focus on taking small steps towards your goals and trust in your ability to navigate life's challenges. With patience and practice, you can break free from the cycle of overthinking and cultivate a more peaceful and fulfilling life. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. This is really interesting. The mindfulness practices, dump journaling, movement. These are a few great tools that you provided us today to fight against overthinking. Thank you so much for doing this, Rita. And thank you for coming.